Welcome to the Tangent Podcast. It's a new year, and we've got our first big, huge story of the year. Well, not exactly, but I think it's important. I think it's interesting, and I think there's a lot we can get into with our own expertise here on the Tangent Podcast. We're going to talk about iced tea. It's blowing up right now all over social media. People are talking about the iced tea traffic stop. He gets angry with police. What exactly is going on here? We're going to talk about it. I'm Vinny Politan, along with Al Wunsch and the radio legend Jonesy. And guess what, folks? This is the Tangent Podcast.
It's Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. Vinny has the blue eyes, Al cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button, so we can all have a blast. Vinny, Al, and Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill Gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinny and the Tangents, True Crime Podcast.
Here we go. It's
Yo,
2025, right? It's 2025.
My stars.
Unbelievable. By the way, YouTube totally messed up the video I posted for New Year's on the Tangent Podcast. They delayed it. They put a minute and a half pre-roll, so our countdown was off by a little bit. But a good time was had by all. I don't know why they did
all
that.
to hell.
Yeah, I don't understand why they did that, but they did that. So now we know. So for 2026, we'll be on time. Welcome to the Tangent Podcast. Today we're talking about this guy, Ice-T. Right? A member of law enforcement.
Wait a minute.
A member of law enforcement should know better than to get angry with 5-0 when a guy is just out doing his job.
Well, that's a very valid point. And he should know better.
Yeah.
And, it's a situation that, he's wrong. Okay. The car is not registered. His license is expired. There's no registration. The registration's expired, as I said, and there's
Here's
no.
the first question I have. This is happening in New Jersey,
Yes.
right? So,
Yes.
can you be a police officer in New York and live in New Jersey like Ice-T?
Didn't you ever see
No.
Copland?
Yes, in Copland they did.
But I thought they changed that. Don't you have to live in the city now, or am I wrong here?
No, you have to live in New York. You don't have to live in the city. But most cops live in Rockland. And most.
So
New
do you
York
think
cops.
he's going to get jammed up? Do you think SUV is going to suspend him?
Is going to give him an IA?
Internal affairs, IAB. Are they going to look at this case?
Anytime a cop is stopped and issued a summons, has to be an IA. So he has to report it to Ms. What's her name? Captain Benson now?
Benson,
To send it to the captain. And then she has to refer it to Internal Affairs, and Internal Affairs will do an investigation. And he probably is going to get in trouble for the way he acted at the scene.
I've got to say, I'm a Law and Order fan, and when Ice-T first showed up, I thought he was a joke. When I would watch the way he would portray his character, he has grown on me, and I really enjoy his performances on Law and Order.
Now, I just want to go back. We're gonna roll part of the video of the body cam video that is blowing up. It's showing up everywhere. So we'll go through it. And, Al and I are attorneys. We can give you the legal analysis of what's happening. And Jonesy I'll
tell you what's going on in the streets.
Exactly. Because Jonesy is from the streets of New Jersey, right? This is close to where you grew up, where all this is happening.
Hey, baby, I was born in the mean streets of Newark in the Route 21 projects before we sailed across the mighty Passaic and planted our freak flag in Kearney.
Kearney, is what county is Kearney? Isn't that Hudson County?
Yes, it is.
It's Hudson County. That's where all this is happening. So we're going to give you insight that you're not going to get anywhere else on the World Wide Web today when it comes to this Ice-T story, correct?
Yeah, well, but I have a lot to do with North Bergen. Spent a lot of days at Hudson County Park in North Bergen, and the Murder Burgers across the street from Hudson County Park.
Yeah,
We had West Hudson County Park, which was sprawling, man. It was like our backyard. We lived like, right there. And it was like a huge property, and it was patrolled by the by the Hudson County Police Department,
Right,
which is now
which is
defunct.
And no longer, right. They did away with that, and they all became sheriff's officers, and that's what we're dealing with in this case.
So
Yeah,
what?
now
Let's
here's a
start
question for you
there.
guys. Do sheriffs pull people over regularly?
Yes.
Okay.
In Hudson County, what's their jurisdiction?
In Bergen County, and in Hudson County, and in Passaic County, the sheriff's department does patrol the streets because they patrol county roads.
Oh, so they have jurisdiction on county roads, not just
Correct.
county parks.
County roads, county parks, anything
That's
to do with the
interesting.
county.
Okay,
It's
well, the
interesting.
adjacent street may be a county road, but the way the video is shot, that's like a small street there.
No, it's Bergen. He was going to the DMV at North Bergen, so it's Bergen
Right?
Line.
Is Bergen Line a county road?
Of course it is. Yeah, goes through the entire county.
All
Hence
right.
Bergen. Okay.
So Ice-T gets pulled over by a sheriff's deputy, which I at first I thought that was kind of strange in New Jersey, because New Jersey,
Yeah.
unlike Florida and other states, the sheriff doesn't handle a lot. The sheriffs are generally, you see them at the jails, you see them at the courthouses, you rarely see them in the streets.
I
That's
saw them
number one.
crouched. I saw them crouched in my hallway when I first moved into the Asbury Park condo. The neighborhood was kind of bad, and I walked in the door, and they were crouched in the hallway, staring at my floor. And I looked at them and I said, "You got me." And they had no sense of humor about it. They were apparently waiting for the person in apartment 17 to open their door.
Oh,
Wow. And did how long ago was this?
I first moved in 2007, and the neighborhood was still dicey, so it was around then.
Okay. I would have said, like, right there, that's your moment. You need to roll on that. When I say roll on it, I mean break out your camera and get video, and then we got a whole show, Jonesy. We got a
There
whole
you
show.
go. Right.
Okay, so good morning to everyone. Happy New Year. Let's get to a bit of this video, which is again blowing up online, and it's from Unspoken Crime Murders. Unspoken Crime is a YouTube channel that is blowing this thing up today, and great work by them. You should subscribe to Unspoken Crimes, posting interesting videos all the time. So you hear some of his commentary as well during the course of us looking at this video, but hats off to him for uncovering this, because this goes back to May. So the video is going public today, but the incident took place in the spring. So let's begin.
What's up, officer?
Officers, let you know you're being recorded, okay?
I'm headed to the DMV. That's where I'm going to get all my registration and everything.
You know your registration expired since 2021.
That's where I'm going.
So you have your license expired as well.
That's why I'm going to the DMV. My paperwork here.
Whoa. Okay. Right out of the box here. Let's start with the fact that his license has expired since 21.
what? The license is expired since 21, or the registration was expired since
The
21?
license.
It was
Okay,
license.
so the license expired since 21. Maybe that's why we never see him driving in SVU.
Yeah, well,
Dirty.
maybe he hasn't been driving. When they asked him about the registration on that car, he said, it had been parked.
But
and
and he says he's got, well, but see, this is the part that gets a little stupid. Okay, you got a car with no front license plate. You got a car that hasn't been inspected. You got a car.
Wait. Al, you have to make this clear for the rest of the country.
New Jersey requires you to have a front license plate.
Right. Because most
And-
states don't. Most states, it's just your back one. Like here in Georgia, you can do whatever you want in the front. I could put a Mets plate. I could put one of those English, British license plates in the front.
I do see cars all the time in Jersey without front plates.
Yeah.
I know it's illegal, but nonetheless, you see it all the time.
But as long as you have it on your dashboard, you're okay. So you may see that they don't have it on the front, but they can put the license on their dashboard, and that satisfies the requirement of a front license plate for the purposes of the vehicle. Because there's certain like luxury cars that it's very difficult to put a front license plate on. So that's why you're allowed to do that.
Right.
But-
But I do see cars without either.
You've got no situation here with regards to registration, license, and everything else. Why is he driving the car that does not register? You don't need to bring that car to DMV to get it registered. You can register it by just going into the DMV and saying, this is what I want to do, and this is where I go.
Right. But you also shouldn't be driving with an expired license.
And the other problem is that he's not going to be able to get a vehicle registered if his license is expired. Okay. I really don't know what the situation is with regards to insurance. They don't mention that, which
Right.
I mean, he may have a policy, but he's going to have a problem if the vehicle is unregistered and he's not licensed, which technically he's not. Okay. Then the insurance issue comes into play, because even though it insures the car, it's also going to be making sure that the car is properly registered, and also that he's a licensed driver behind the wheel. So there's a number of issues on this, and that's why the cop, is concerned about it. Okay, I don't think the cop knows who he is. I don't think there's any stretch of the imagination here. The police forces now on the sheriff's department in Hudson County are so young. They really are. The new guys coming in are very young, and he may not watch Law and Order. I mean, we watch it, but he may not watch it. At no point in time, and I got to give kudos to Ice-T for this, does he say, "You know who I am"? I mean, he makes some subtle comments about the fact that
And he didn't flash his badge either. He didn't flash his badge, Jonesy.
He did not flash his badge, and I'm going to probably come off as the bad guy here, but I question why he was really pulled over. He's driving a Porsche. Look at the way he's dressed. He's, looks street.
So you think he's being profiled?
I in my heart, I believe that, yes.
But then, Jonesy, you don't know that these Hudson County police officers, the sheriff's department, have license readers. Okay, so every car that goes by them, the license reader will tell them whether or not the car is registered or not registered. So
he doesn't mention that in the video when he
doesn't have to mention that. He doesn't have to mention that.
All right, let's start it again. We'll give it so everyone can listen more closely now, because you guys have brought up some great issues here.
Oh, sir.
What's up, officer?
Officer, just let you know you're being recorded, okay?
I'm headed to the DMV. That's where I'm going to get all my registration and everything.
You know your registration expired since 2021.
That's where I'm going.
So you have your license expired as well.
That's why I'm going to the DMV. Give me my paperwork here.
Yo, don't touch me. Don't
Give me
like that.
Give me my paperwork. Get this on camera.
Legendary rapper and actor Ice-T, best known for his role as Detective Odafin Tutuola on Law.
Okay, here's some more. All right, let's get back to it.
How's it going, sir?
What's up, officer?
Officer Silla, Hudson County Sheriff's Office. Let you know you're being recorded, okay?
I'm headed to the DMV. That's where I'm going to get all my registration and everything straight on this car.
At first, everything appeared to be normal as a simple traffic stop, but things would soon escalate between the actor and the officer.
Well, first of all, there's not such thing as a simple traffic stop. Like, I get it, like simple traffic stops, but you ask any officer, any traffic stop can go south very quickly. So they generally don't like that term, simple traffic stop. It's a traffic stop. You're stopping someone. You don't know who they are. You don't know what they're up to.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the phraseology is basically that it was not. He wasn't
right. He wasn't wanted for anything
bank
else.
robbery.
There's no warrant. Right. I understand. Right. But how about just traffic stop?
You know your registration expired since 2021.
That's where I'm going. I'm headed right there.
Now, does everyone believe him?
Well, he's in the vicinity of the DMV.
So I believe him when he points to his the envelope where he's keeping all of his paperwork. Normally, I would keep that stuff in the glove compartment. And if I'm going to DMV, I have a little envelope with all the little things I need. And he points to that, and that's where his paperwork is. So I do believe him.
All right, so let me ask you this. Like, what are the odds?
Oh, gosh.
What are the odds that you're on
Right?
your way to the DMV to take care of this, and that's when you're pulled over, right? So that was the first thing I questioned.
Yeah, they got him across the street from the DMV.
So do you think the officer is looking for people like this who are just moments away from getting to the DMV to take care of their paperwork and is nabbing them beforehand? Or do you think something else? See, that's the part I'm trying to understand the nature of the get to Jonesy's point, the nature of the traffic stop itself. Like why this car, why this moment. Now I did notice in some of the video here that there's a bunch of green in the back. Is that one of the county parks?
But Bergen Line, there is a park off of Bergen Line. I'm not exactly. I mean, the DMV is on 90th, if I'm not mistaken, and in North Bergen, and so 90th, 73. There could be. So there's a bunch of parks that line.
Like,
near the river.
was he driving through the park and then, a county officer sees this and says, oh my goodness, like you said, a license plate reader, unregistered, let me stop it. Or as Jonesy's saying here, is this officer see a beautiful car go by, super expensive. Oh, this guy's driving it. Let me run this on him. Let me run what's going on here. So is he checking everybody who's driving by, or is he just checking,
No, it's an automatic reader. It's an automatic reader that focuses on a license plate.
So every car, you're saying every car that goes by is going to get red, and then it'll beep or something. It'll
as long as he's positioned in that, as long as he's positioned in that way, it gets red. But let's put the point out. Ice-T lives in North Bergen. Okay, he lives in the condos that are right on the water of the Hudson River. Okay, so he lives in the area. He is pretty well known. Frequents a lot of the big restaurants, the high-end restaurants in the area. He lives in a beautiful complex. So this isn't a guy who just kind of stumbled into the area. So but like my point is that if you got a car that doesn't have a license plate in the front, that doesn't have a registration, that doesn't have an inspection, and you don't have a license, then why are you driving that car?
Well, Stephen Paulus points this out. He said he had 7 cars.
Right.
So, like when you're really rich like that, you have a garage. You may not even be attached to your home. You may have a garage somewhere else where you keep all your cars, right? And then inevitably, 7 cars. Oh my goodness, my whatever year Porsche isn't registered. Let me take it down to get registered. But what he should have done is taken one of the other 6 cars that is registered to get that registered. Now, so what? And I haven't done this because we do everything by mail here in Georgia where I am. I'm able to do this by mail to renew my registration. I just don't know once it lapses, do you have to go in person with the car to show them the vehicle identification number? Well,
no, you have to go in person. You have to go in person because one, you've got to make sure. I mean, I don't know if he owns that car outright or it's a lease or if it's if he purchased it and it's he's paying it off. So there's a bunch of things that have to be done. Ordinarily,
if you have an unregistered vehicle, I'm trying to remember.
I've done this recently.
Go ahead.
So I have 2 cars. I got pulled over by a license reader, and I insisted to the cop that I remembered getting the car registered, and I came across as like a little old man. He said, "Where were you going?" And I said, "I like to watch the fishing boats over at the pier there." I came across as like a really old man, like not on purpose, but I said to him, "I had this car registered. I remember mailing it in, and apparently I had registered the other car." He told me to take care of it. When I got home, even though the registration had expired, I was allowed to do it online and have it mailed to me and use the receipt from online.
Even though it was expired, you did not have to go to the DMV to do it.
Right, but you may have to for your expired license, though.
Well, you have to. Well, did you own the car, Jonesy, or was it a lease? You owned it?
I owned it.
Right, that's a little different because if your car is a lease, okay, or you have a car loan that you're paying off for the car, you don't hold the title. Okay, so then you need a power of attorney from the company that's leasing you the car, or the company that is holding the title because you're paying it off monthly.
Except we don't know that he was leasing it.
Well, I don't know, but my point is that you can't do it by mail. If you've missed that opportunity to get that power of attorney, then you've got to go and run through a whole bunch of machinations and have them send it over to DMV and all this other kind of stuff. It's a real pain in the butt. if you miss the date. But if
Okay.
you own the car, it's easier.
So there may be a reason for him to actually go to the DMV to try to straighten. Now, could you imagine the scene at the DMV in Hudson
gosh.
County if
Well-
Ice-T shows up? Like
Well, first of all,
in New Jersey, you can make appointments now, right? Because we can
Yeah.
do that here in Georgia.
but for the thing is this: he's got to get the new New Jersey license, because his expired back in a point when we weren't
Right.
issued these new licenses.
So he's got to go
Oh,
for a new picture, and he's got to get
Yeah.
the special identity. He's got to have like the 17 different forms of identification
That's correct.
beyond just his
Actually,
face.
once again, I had that happen since the law changed, since they came out with the special licenses that they say you would need for flying and stuff like that. And the last time I renewed it was after they did that. Yet I was able to keep the same picture, the same license, and do it via mail. I don't know that that's required, Al, as much as it's suggested, so you can fly, because they say it was starting last year. If you're going
Right.
to fly, you need like one of those special licenses.
Yeah, it has to have a star on it, and I mean, I got that.
I guess Ice-T probably flies around a lot though, so he would probably.
Yeah,
prefer
and I'm
that.
wondering. I mean, would he fly private?
Nah,
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, he has seven.
When
he
did
has
you
seven
decide?
cars, but here we go.
7 car. He might be. I mean, let's see.
Go
Let's see
and
what happens.
Yesterday, I went yesterday, but they
Yeah, but what I'm saying is your registration been expired since 2021.
car's been parked.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course I'm sure. That's why I'm trying to get this car set up to go.
Okay, so basically, that car's been dormant, is what he's saying. It's been parked. He hasn't used it, so now he's trying to get it ready to go, and that's when he gets pulled over. Let's continue.
Yesterday I went to the DMV and they said that their system was down, so that's where I'm headed.
That sounds very believable if you're from New Jersey.
I'm not doubting that statement for 1 minute that the DMV system was down.
We are all of an age where we remember when DMV was like an incredible nightmare, and they were the nastiest people on earth, and it would take forever to do
It
anything.
was all day. It was all day,
and
whenever you went.
It's gotten much better, I must say.
And I remember the days of a pictureless license that was just a piece of paper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
the good old days. Here we go.
Got
Yeah,
7 cars. I'm trying to get them all straight.
You say you went to DMV yesterday. They said the system is down.
Yesterday, yep.
What time was your appointment yesterday?
I didn't have an appointment. They just take me.
You need to have an appointment to go to DMV.
I don't need one
Why is that?
because they know me.
Because they know you.
Now, he has no idea that this is Ice-T. He has no idea.
Yeah,
I'm convinced.
no doubt of that.
He does not know who he's talking to.
Because, like I told you, that
I get why, but that's an important part of it. Like, is he busting his chops because he's Ice-T? No, I don't think so. Is he letting him go because he's Ice-T? No, he doesn't know who Ice-T is. Like, Ice-T walks into the DMV. I could imagine everybody's like, "Hey, Ice-T, come on over here." And I don't even think the other customers would be bothered by it. Would you be bothered if Ice-T cut in front of you?
No,
Yes.
I want a picture.
As long as he gives you a pic. I'm sure he takes pictures with everybody. All right, let's do a couple of selfies. He goes in, he does his thing, and he gets out. I kind of believe him on that one. Do you?
Yes.
There's no way he knows who Ice-T is. I mean, it's just
Right, but do you believe he was at the DMV the day before?
Yes.
I don't know. That's
Based
kind
on
of
the way he answers the questions, he sounds very sincere, very real.
it does seem sincere, but I mean, I'd be curious to take a look to see if a DMV being down. I've never seen a DMV down all that time, the full day. So, I mean, I don't understand that. And if he knows people there, why didn't they call him and say, "Yeah, we're back up"? So,
Well, I don't think he knows people
being
there.
from New Jersey, I believe it was down.
Yeah, I don't think it's like his cousin works there. I think he walks in, he's Ice-T. Everybody knows who Ice-T is. He's like, they know who I am. Like, not anyone in particular, but everyone knows who he is. Like, we know who he is. Like, if he walked into your law office, you'd be like, and there were two other people waiting, you might talk to Ice-T first, Al. But I know first you would ask the other clients, listen, do you guys mind if I just get him out of here real quick?
I have a sneaky suspicion that he knows people there, because it's very North Bergen is very chummy that way. Okay, and like everybody knows everybody else and things along those lines.
Ice-T? This guy's been a public figure for like 40 years. Like it goes back to like the maybe not 40, 35 years, whatever it is, right? Like take a look at his career. Like it started how many years ago?
I'd say 40, and let us not forget the band that he had, Body Count.
Cop Killer.
Heavy metal. They had a song called Cop Killer. They were pressured by the government to remove the song from the record, Sire Records, and Ice-T wanted it removed from the record because he felt like the attention was taking away from the underlying creation that he had made, the underlying product. He was famously skewered for that, like Cop Killer, the song, and Charlton Heston even like recited his lyrics in a dramatic read, trying to convince people that he was evil, and all this kind of stuff. So he wasn't really beloved by the police community. He even points that out, that it's ironic that he plays a cop now.
Right. And think about this career. Like, so you had the music career that began years and years and years ago. I mean, he did breakdance songs, for goodness sake. That's how far back this goes. Yeah. I mean, he's doing breakdance songs, right?
He was inspired by the whatchamacallit, Sugar Hill Gang, which he got to hear when he was in the Army for the first time. And so they credits them with getting him interested in hip hop.
So that goes back. And now he's been on the force for like 20 years, right?
Yeah.
SVU.
He's on for 25, and I think he's on 20 of the 25.
Yeah. Like this is a long time public figure. So I just feel like people would recognize him. He's like a part of our culture.
He's extremely recognizable.
Yeah. Especially when is he still married to Coco? Do we know?
Yeah, he is.
So if he's out with Coco, he's very recognized.
As I said, I live maybe 20 minutes from him. We eat at the same restaurants. I see him out all the time, see him out with Coco. I mean, he's very affable. He's a very nice guy. Coco is a delight. I mean, it's unfortunate to see this, and it upsets me that, he got as angry as he did. The cop was basically doing what he needed to do. The car is dangerous.
He sounds like a rookie. He sounds like a young cop.
He's unlicensed. Look, God forbid he gets into an accident, okay, and then the cop's responsible.
Yeah.
Then they're going to say to the cop, why did you let him drive the car? He had no license.
Right.
So you put the cop in a very awkward position on this.
I agree entirely with that, because in the old days, it even happened to my mom, who hardly ever drank, but she drank at a work party. She was pulled over. The cops told her to pull her car over, and they drove her home. That's what used to go on.
Right. And then they put cameras on you, and now you do that, and you're going to be arrested.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Yes, exactly.
In fact, he says to him, "Listen, I've got a camera on you, just so you're aware of this." He advises.
Here's another thing, though. When we watched the beginning, it was sequences, and now we're watching the entirety of it.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's a point where the sheriff, I'm pretty sure he says, "I'm going to tow your car." That's when Ice-T loses it, and that's when he starts cursing, and that's when he gets in his face. Shortly thereafter, a second sheriff shows up, a superior, and if you watch this closely, I do believe that the sheriff who pulled him over lies to a superior and said, "I was just going to let him park," which is what Ice-T asks to do, but he got in my face, so now I'm going to tow it. So there you go.
All right, let's keep our eyes open.
Passport, you have a driver's license with you?
Yeah. I'm getting that.
That's expired.
That's expired.
So you have your license expired as well.
What's that?
Okay, just stop it for a second. The reason why I definitely believe he was going to DMV is that he has his passport with him. Okay, because he gives the cop the passport.
Yeah.
All right. Then he goes, well, do you have your license? Okay. So then in there, he was definitely going to get, the real ID license in at the DMV, because that's one of your proofs.
Right.
And
That's one of the best proofs that you can bring.
Right. And so I have no doubt that he was heading to the DMV. I believe that that's absolutely true. And he gave him the and I'm sure that Ice-T knew his license was expired. That's why he gave him the passport, hoping that the guy wasn't going to say, well, can I see your license? But it ends up going from there.
That's why I'm going to the DMV.
Sir, even if it's 1 feet, you cannot drive with an expired license and expired registration.
I mean, why don't you follow me right to this garage right here? The DMV is right there. You don't gotta be that serious about this. I mean, you can, but you don't have to.
Okay. So right now he's asking to be given a break, right?
Yes.
Just follow me. And in this part, now I know for sure that he's going to the DMV because he knows exactly where it is. He's pointed it out. He wants the officer to follow him there. But the officer can't allow him to drive at this point. He just can't.
Right.
He's literally handcuffed. What are the alternatives here to allow him to park his car or do something like just put it in a place so it's not a danger to anyone, and then he could drive Ice-T to the DMV. He can walk to the DMV.
Ice-T can walk to the
he can walk. He's not close.
The car actually looks safe there to me, even though it's not in like a lined parking spot. And I do believe like if you're arrested for drunk driving or whatever, that officers can get in your car and move it slightly to a safer spot.
Yeah. Well, let's continue.
Well, is it serious? So, give me 1 second.
I could park the car right here and then walk to the DMV.
There he goes. He says, I could park it. I could walk to the DMV.
That's 566. It's 56. I'm good. I'm with our row.
Those are all the things.
You said you have other vehicles registered?
I have 7 vehicles.
Okay.
Received. Do you want me to start the hood?
It's 56. It's the standby. You could have drive the other vehicle who was registered and get this one registered.
Can I handle this? You gonna take me to jail?
I'm not going to take you to jail.
Okay, can I park the car here and walk to the DMV?
I'm going to tow your vehicle. It's
No, you're
expired.
not.
There you go.
Right there. He just said, I'm going to tow the vehicle.
Now watch later at 6:22 into it, approximately.
So does he have to tow the vehicle, Al? Does he have any, how else does an unregistered vehicle get moved, right? Unless he could leave it there, wait till he registers it, and then he could take it. So does he have the discretion here to cut this guy who's on his way to the DMV, cut him a break?
Cops always have discretion with regards to same. He may be following a directive that says that they are required to tow the vehicle because he's not licensed and the vehicle's not registered. The problem is if he gets behind, so all Ice-T wants to do is pull the car into a parking lot, right? He pulls the car into a parking lot and hits somebody or hits another vehicle or something along those lines. The cop is screwed.
Yeah.
The cop is screwed because they're going to say, hey, idiot, you knew he had no license and you let him drive the vehicle. This guy's not in a very enviable position. Okay, so he's between a rock and a hard place as to what he's supposed to do in this instance. And
what Ice-T should have done here is, number one, Uber to DMV to straighten out his license.
Right.
Right.
Or one of the registered vehicles, but he shouldn't be driving.
He can't drive. He
Right,
can't
exactly.
drive. So he's got to Uber down there. You take care of the license first, then you got to take care of the cars. And I don't think you need to necessarily drive the cars there. Maybe you do. I don't know why he's driving the unregistered car to register it if he's got 6 other cars that may be registered? That doesn't make sense.
He made the wrong choice. Simple
Okay.
as that. He didn't need to bring the car, but he made the wrong choice, rolling the dice that he was going to make it, and he almost made it.
Well, he made it the day
He
before.
got close.
He made it the day before, which is
Right.
interesting, right?
Tow my vehicle. Let me park my car right here.
You're not gonna move your car, sir. You give me your keys right now, and I'm gonna tow your vehicle. You try to be more respectful with me, I'm gonna respect you the same way.
Well, then let me. You see, I'm going to.
No, you're not gonna tell me what to do. I'm gonna tell you what to do. So give me your keys right now.
Okay. Now things are getting escalated. Why do you believe this escalation at this moment is happening? Jonesy first. Go ahead.
Because he's a kid and he's got something to prove. And that's what happens sometimes with younger police officers. I have great respect for police officers. I didn't used to when I was a kid. I was the guy who got pulled over and threw my license at you, and then was surprised I got tickets. I've changed in that regard. But I do believe that this guy may have something to prove, and I still believe he's driving while black. Man, he's driving like a badass Porsche. He's dressed like Ice-T, which is street-like, And Al's like scoffing at me, but that's what I believe.
He's in North Bergen. He's not in Englewood Cliffs. He's not in Fort Lee. He's in North Bergen, which is
that's never happened. That's never happened in North Bergen.
Police officers a minority. Okay, so like under the circumstances, to say it's a driving while black thing is just patently offensive. It's not. Let's look at it from the standpoint of the guy's car was unregistered. He was unlicensed. The cop has every right to impound that vehicle. Under New Jersey law, the cop has every right. And what would the story be?
Isn't it true that you make a living defending police officers in court?
I also I was a prosecutor, and I can tell you that under the circumstances, and I'm a public defender, and if I had somebody who I was defending in this case, I would have turned around and said, "Idiot, what were you driving for?" Okay, and then why were you making it a difficult situation? Okay, you shouldn't have been behind the wheel of the car.
You make a fine argument, but you don't change my gut opinion of that.
Well, it's not because he's black.
From the gut. I'm sorry. That's what I think.
Because the car is unregistered and he's unlicensed. So he's supposed to be able to drive by because he's black. I mean, let's be realistic here. Bottom line is this: the guy did the wrong thing. He got pissed off because he knew he was wrong.
He got really pissed off after the sheriff said he was going to tow his car.
Because he has the right to tow the car. The sheriff wasn't doing anything that was that was extraordinary. I mean,
but it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary, as is proven later in this video.
It still is a situation that the cop was within his rights. You might not agree with his discretion, but he was within his rights. He's within his rights. Look it up. New Jersey, a police officer can impound an unregistered or an unlicensed vehicle. Okay.
I don't have to look it up.
If you're driving a vehicle without a license, you could face prison. You could face jail time. Okay. You could spend up to 15 days in jail for driving with an unlicensed, driving as an unlicensed driver in New Jersey. I mean, that would never happen in this instance. There's no doubt about that. But you are looking at, that's one of the penalties. Okay. Is jail up to 15 days. So you tell me, Jonesy, if the guy ends up in an accident,
you haven't changed my mind.
If the guy
that's what I believe in my gut.
Can I finish, please? If the guy is unlicensed, he shouldn't be driving. Okay, and the cop was within his right. I know that. So then, what's the problem? Why are you taking the side?
Because I believe he looks like the way he does. He looks street. He's driving like a badass car. You can't tell me that hasn't happened.
So what's happening here? Wait, Al. Let me jump in here. I want to comment. What Jonesy is arguing is the old fruit of the poisonous tree, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you about the fruit of the poisonous tree. If you pull someone over without a reason to, or if you pull someone over because you are profiling, everything that happens afterwards is poison. So I think that's what Jonesy's saying here, Al. Am I right, Jonesy? That the whole initial contact with the officer is based upon something that is not legal, which is profiling.
I don't think
I
that's what he
stand
said.
by. Yes, I stand by my.
There you
belief
go.
that that's
By
what
the way,
whoever-
folks, we've put a poll up on YouTube. Who is right here, Ice-T or the deputy? So you can go into the community chat on the channel, on the YouTube
Or
channel,
me.
and put the poll up there. Now I'm wondering, and I'm just going to take this video back just a little bit, because this is the point where the officer is saying that you are disrespecting me, and I'm trying to figure out which is the moment that he believes that Ice-T is being disrespectful. So let's back that up just a little bit, and we'll watch.
I am not going to take you to jail.
Okay, can I park the car here and walk to the DMV?
I'm going to tow your vehicle. It's
No,
expired.
you're not. You're not finna tow my vehicle. Let me park my car right here.
You're not going to move your car, sir. You give me your keys right now, and I'm going to tow your vehicle. You try to be more respectful with me, I'm going to respect you the same way.
Well, then let me. You see, I'm.
Okay, so was that disrespectful when he said you're not going to tow my bleeping vehicle? Is that escalation by Ice-T?
the language,
certainly-
the language is, but language is language.
Yeah, but do you know that if Ice-T said, "Listen, please don't tow my vehicle," all right? I mean, I'll walk up to the thing. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Okay, if that had happened under the circumstances, I don't think the cop would have gone to the level he did. Anytime you're involved with police, I'm going to just give you a little clue, folks. Do not use four-letter words. Do not use swears. Do not use curses and everything along those lines. All you do is you escalate. I mean,
Right.
I've had issues with regards to not so much police officers, but like people who are dealing with the influx of vehicles to sports events. And it's generally not the most intelligent people that I'm trying to deal with. And I've gotten into arguments, and as long as you get into an argument and you don't start saying F this, F you and the whole 9 yards and giving them the finger, anytime the cops come over, it gets worked out and you get what you need to do. Once there's an old adage, okay, you can beat the charge, but you can't fight the ride. And that applies under these circumstances too. Take the tickets, say thank you, and just fight it in court where you can fight it. Doing it there on the sidelines and getting it escalated gets exactly what happened. You have a situation now.
And here's the thing: you can be in the right. You have a right to say whatever you want. You have freedom of speech. This is about self-preservation, right? Is from your own perspective, like what gives you the best chance as the motorist to get out of this situation? And that is just nothing but sugar. It may not work, but escalation will never, like using those words will never, ever, ever work. Like once you go there, that's the point of no return. And yeah, he's allowed to say all that stuff. You can say it, you can argue, you can do all of that, right? You can't physically fight. But yeah, you can speak your mind. The problem is it'll never get you out of the situation on the side of the road. You have zero chance, where you may have a chance when you pour some sugar on it. I just need to do this. I need to do this because this is really important.
To get happy. It's time to get funky. It's time for us to smile. Here comes Max Spunky.
Now, this is a guy who would never get a ticket. Like, if you pulled this guy over, Officer Wunsch, would you give McSpunky a ticket, or would you let him go with that smile? Come on.
Well, you know me. I'm like Sheriff Buford T. Justice, okay, in the famous movie with Burt Reynolds, and so
Bandit.
that's right.
No, you're not going to tell me what to do.
All right, let's continue to watch the escalation. Thank you, McSpunky. Happy New Year, and let's continue.
Dude, I'm going to tell you what to do. So give me your keys right now. If you're going to go that route.
I asked you, can I park my car?
I said not. Give me your keys, sir.
If I'm not under arrest, then I'm getting out of my car.
All right, what do you think of the choice to get out of the car?
I think
Well, he's going to have to get out of the car anyway because he was going to have the car towed.
Right.
So
he
needed to get out.
handled it well. He didn't just get out of the car. They say you shouldn't do that at a police stop because it's a threatening thing. He said, "I'm going to get out of my car." if I'm not being arrested. I think he
Yeah,
handled it
it
okay.
was a smart move.
All right, and now this is when things get really loud. Get ready.
Give me my paperwork, you fucking.
No, don't touch me. Don't
Give
do
me
it like that.
Give me my paperwork. Get this on camera. This motherfucker is. I am a foot away from
I'm telling you,
DMV.
keep your distance.
You are a fucking asshole.
I'm not an asshole. You've been an asshole to me.
I'm an asshole. I'm trying to get to the DMV. I showed you all the paperwork. Let me start recording your dumb ass.
So 5-6, start the hook and start another unit.
All right, what did we think of that?
Okay, well, the cop did the right thing by calling a supervisor in.
Yep.
So that was a smart move on his part. And that was definitely escalation on the part of Ice-T, unfortunately. Give me my effing papers back, and, and basically putting his hand out towards the officer. Not a smart move.
Yeah.
Not a smart move.
That was bad. He lost his cool. Absolutely lost his cool.
And it's ridiculous to me that like, it's not like he can't get a ride from the scene. If they tow the car, it's what, $100. It's not like it's going to be a nothing more than an inconvenience. Okay. But it's not the end of the world. And he's getting himself very worked up on it. And I think that it's an unfortunate circumstance. And as I said before, I have nothing against Ice-T. I like him personally. I've never had a bad situation with him. I find him to be engaging. I find him to be very interesting to speak with. I even like his music. And it's just, you don't do this. You don't do this. He made a mistake. He realized he made the mistake. Own it and move on.
Yeah. To me, the most shocking part of this is that he knows who he is. Right? He knows he's a public figure, right? And celebrities take a lot to protect that image, right? And to protect who they are. So what do you think this coming out today does for the public perception of Ice-T?
I don't think it changes
of Ice-T.
I don't think it changes a thing, because you got to remember where this guy came from and what his image was like before we knew him from Law and Order. With his hardcore rap, with Body Count, like his heavy metal hardcore band, doing songs like Cop Killer and stuff like that. He refers to it himself. The irony, as I said before, that he plays a cop on TV. So I don't think it really. It helps his street image, and I don't think it hurts his image to Mr. and Mrs. Front Porch.
Okay. What do you think, Al? I mean, we're gonna jump into the comments in just a moment here.
No, I mean, historically, any type of situation with regards to, this kind of thing in front of the police never works well. It never works well for the actor. It never works well for the politician. It never works well across the board. Okay, because it seems like it is him feeling he's entitled, because God knows if it was Jonesy, Vinny, or me, okay, we'd be in trouble. And he doesn't think he should be in trouble. So he's got that sense of entitlement. It's no different than, what are the Karens that they always like to show on YouTube and everything else. These people that are whining that, because their hamburger's not hot enough or something along those lines, and that they feel that they're entitled and that they're talking to somebody and talking down to someone because he's a dumb cop. All right. That is not, that's never positive, and that's never good. I mean, look, the bottom line is that it's a mistake. Ice-T made the mistake. The cop didn't make the mistake. The cop didn't get into his car and drive without a license.
Right.
Okay. Cop didn't get into an unregistered vehicle.
I think the issue here is the escalation is one issue. The other issue is discretion and whether or not it should have been exercised. And I think letter of the law for sure. It's obvious. Look, Autumn B has an interesting comment. Yeah. Okay, Vinny, pouring sugar is the solution to life. Well, first of all, as a type 1 diabetic, sugar is not necessarily the solution. If I have a low blood sugar, it's the solution to get my blood sugar back up. I didn't say it's the solution to life. I said it's the only chance you have when you get pulled over by a police officer in getting out of that situation either without a ticket or with limited damage. Once you drop an F-bomb, you are not getting off. That officer is a human being. That officer will not cut you a break. The best opportunity you have to cut a break is to pour sugar on it. I didn't say it's a solution to life. I'm a type 1 diabetic.
And discretion comes with age, and discretion comes with experience. This is obviously a young cop. Okay, he may not think he has the discretion in a situation where it's not only unlicensed, it's also unregistered.
He is
so under those circumstances.
You know, in the video that we're going to watch, in the rest of the video, he is offered that discretion by his superior and declines.
And as the sheriff, as the sergeant says, I have no ability to tell him no. I asked him if he'd be willing to knock it down from 4 to 2.
He is so. You just said that. You just said that. You know, he's youthful. He's a young officer, and he may not know that he had the discretion. He is told later on that he has that discretion, and he opts not to offer a lesser.
And if Ice-T had been, I screwed up. You know, listen, man, I know I'm wrong, and everything else. I'm sure he would have exercised the discretion. He didn't. He came at him and said, "Give me those effing papers."
Right.
And
he came at him, and as you'll see in the video, he came at him after the officer said that he was going to have his car towed. Whereas the officer tells his superior, "I was going to let him park." I'm pretty sure of this. We'll see in the video.
Yeah, we're going to see in just a second. Lisa Jeter, he will beat the tickets if he goes to court showing he got legal on the same day he was ticketed. Ice-T doesn't want his car towed. It's clear he doesn't want it towed, but I don't think he and this likely has been resolved already if this goes back to May.
Yeah, probably. Well, depending on North Bergen's court is very backed up. But
he paid all the tickets.
He paid them all.
Yeah. So I mean, like the thing, but the commentator is correct on that, because if you're unlicensed and he gets the license that same day, technically he's not unlicensed. So he would win that ticket.
Interesting.
He would win that ticket.
You're in the parking lot for Dunkin' Donuts, right?
It's 5-6.
And by the way, it wouldn't be a New Jersey body cam video without a Dunkin' Donut somewhere nearby.
The actor began recording as the officer called for backup. Ice-T appeared visibly angry, frustrated that the officer didn't give him another option to register his vehicle.
He's going to be 90.
And that's the voice of Unspoken Crime, who is blowing this thing up today on the internet. Make sure you subscribe.
That's right, Teresa.
And you can see Ice-T lurking. This is fascinating. I am addicted to body camera videos, by the way, just so you know.
That's 5-6 to notify him.
But I am not addicted to the ones which are like the OIS, the officer involved shootings. Like those ones are intense and they're tough to watch. Like the traffic stops, right? You know, and the way, to me, it's about the way different people interact with law enforcement in different situations. To me, it's almost like that show. Remember Taxi Cab Confessions?
Yeah.
It was an HBO show where they had cameras in the taxi cabs and all these crazy, you know, they would say things.
MTV?
No, it was HBO.
HBO? Oh, that's right. Okay, you're correct. I'm sorry.
And to me, that's what this is like too. Like you're capturing people in real moments. There's not it's not life and death, but it's like real life. And to me, it's the study of humans and the way we interact with one another, whether it's law enforcement or the people who are being pulled over. And this is one of those situations. But here, obviously, it's an A-list celebrity.
So what happened, Sarge?
What's up, Sarge?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm trying.
Now, Sergeant knows who Ice-T is.
Absolutely. You can tell it
absolutely clear. And as he makes it clear, hey, Sarge, he almost sounded like he was heading back and talking to Benson and everybody.
He almost sounded like he knew him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
DMV to register my cars.
Okay.
I got all the paperwork and everything there. I asked the officer, could I just go over here or even park my car so that I could walk over there, get all my paperwork together. He says he wants to tow my car.
All right, give me a second. Let me find out what's going on here, and then we'll figure something out.
I love the ladies in the back. They know it's Ice-T now, too.
Yeah, the fans have begun to show up, right?
I'm sure there's video from them too.
I know. We got to track that down.
Okay?
Okay.
Right,
You're doing a little too much, Sarge.
Okay, so what I was going to do is just issue him a ticket, let him park here. Okay. He jumped out of the vehicle. He didn't ask me.
Jonesy is correct. Jonesy is correct. He is now lying to his superior about what happened.
But go back on that again, because I missed exactly what he said.
All right. Jonesy's right.
What's going on here, and then we'll figure something out, okay?
Okay.
Right,
You're doing a little too much, Sarge.
Okay, so what I was going to do is just issue him a ticket, let him park here. Okay. He jumped out of the vehicle. He didn't ask me. He came so close to me. And he said, he called me an asshole. He called me an asshole. And he said, give me all your paperwork right now. All right. And everything's been recorded. And your vehicle's been towed. And you're receiving tickets.
Okay.
The cop's not wrong. The cop's not wrong.
He is, because he's saying he is putting together that he came at me, and that's when I said I was going to tow him. You go back in the video, he's still sitting in the car when he tells him he's going to tow him.
I know that, but it's when he also started calling him some names at that point in time, and that's when.
Not until he said he was being towed.
No, I thought he said something about give me my effing or whatever. You got to be effing.
He says that after the guy tells him he's going to tow him, so he's lying to his superior.
We'll go back
about
in
it. He's
time. Let's go
softening
back
his
in time.
position.
Doesn't
We're on the
matter.
time
He's still given the opportunity to do it.
Here's the time
Sure,
machine.
he's lying
We're
to his
gonna go back.
superior.
Going back
That's
in time.
expired.
So you have your license expired as well.
That's why I'm going to the DMV.
Sir, even if it's 1 feet, you cannot drive with an expired license and expired registration.
I mean, why don't you follow me right to this garage right here? The DMV is right there. You don't gotta be that serious about this. I mean, you can, but you don't have to.
Well, is it serious? So, give me 1 second.
I could park the car right here and then walk to the DMV.
That's 5687.
It's 5-6. I'm good. I'm with our road.
Those are all the things.
You said you have other vehicles registered?
I have 7 vehicles.
Okay.
Receipt. Do you want me to start the hood?
It's 5-6. It's the standby. You could have drive the other vehicle who was registered and get this one
How can I
registered.
handle this? Can I handle this? You gonna take me to jail?
I'm not going to take you to jail.
Okay, can I park the car here and walk to the DMV?
I'm going to tow your vehicle. It's
No, you're
expired.
not.
That's where he says it.
Yeah, because he gave him a wisest answer. You got to take me to jail? Take me to jail. And at that point,
But
you know
that's
what?
not what he tells the
He
sergeant.
doesn't say that.
Well, but it's not. But you're also making it sound like the situation was different.
He
Than,
lied
you know,
to
what
his
he's saying.
superior.
It wasn't
Let's take a
exactly that.
listen.
The guy
Let's
gave
take
him
a listen to the way he
lip.
describes it to the sergeant.
And
Here we go.
everything there. I asked the officer, could I just go over here or even park my car so that I could walk over there, get all my paperwork together. He says he wants to tow my car.
All right, give me a second. Let me find out what's going on here, and then we'll figure something out, okay?
Okay.
Right,
You're doing a little too much, Sarge.
Okay, so what I was going to do is just issue him a ticket, let him park here. Okay. He jumped out of the vehicle. He didn't ask me. He came so close to me.
He says, I was going to let him park, but he jumped out of the vehicle.
But he also didn't call for a tow yet.
Wait, no. You know, all right. Ice-T is wrong. Ice-T has violated the law here. But the officer now is misrepresenting the way this went down and is saying, I was going to let him park. He wasn't going to let him park. He was going to tow it. But he's saying, I was going to let him park until he jumped out of the vehicle and came not after me, but came towards me and was like reaching for the paperwork and everything. And that's what he's telling his sergeant. So he's not telling his sergeant the truth. Now, he may be lying on purpose, or he may be misremembering what just happened moments ago. I don't know. But clearly what he's telling his sergeant is not what happened.
Yeah, but you're also missing the point that
I'm not missing any points. I got all the points.
Please, you're missing the point that the cop could have very easily said, you know what, listen, if Ice-T didn't do what he did, he could have said to him, I was going to tow it, but guess what? I'm going to not tow it now. All right, just going to park it over there, or let me pull the car up and park it for you, and go from there. So we don't know
you're like Fonzie, Al. You just can't say I was rude.
Because I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong because the cop's not wrong.
The cop lied
It
to
doesn't matter.
his
What he's
superior.
saying to the sergeant is really not even relevant because he has every right to tow.
He has the right to do it. What we're
That's right.
saying is what he is telling his boss right now is not true. He's misrepresenting the interaction with Ice-T.
I think that you're
He's making it seem like Ice-T jumped out of the car, and that's when he decided he was going to tow it.
all
He
right. I
said he was
disagree.
going to tow it before
That's
he
what
ever
he's
left the
saying.
vehicle.
Agree to disagree.
But that's what he says.
That's what he says. Do we
Agree
need-
to disagree.
All right.
I
Continue.
think everything worked out exactly the way it was supposed to work out.
That's not what we're arguing here.
But my point is that Ice-T
But our point
put
is
him-
he's not
put him back on his
misrepresenting what
heel,
happened to his boss.
and he said, I'm going to have it towed, which he has every right to do.
Now,
So he tells the sergeant, okay, well, you know what? I was going to let it park until this. What's the big difference? Is there any difference in that at all?
yeah, there's a big difference.
Yes, there's a
No,
difference.
there's not. There's no point to that. It'd be
Well,
different
let
if he
me
didn't
ask
have
you
the
this.
I
right
was going to let him park. I was going to give him a break, but he
Jonesy,
got
you
in
know,
my
I know,
face.
Jonesy, you hate cops,
Why?
so you know under the circumstances. But in this situation, look, Ice-T was wrong. Okay, and let's
We're not debating whether or not he broke the law. What we're
So then what's the
debating is
difference if they said to the cop, if he said to the sergeant A, B, or B, A? It has no relevance.
do you think the sergeant is going to be happy that he's not telling him the truth?
It's not. He's telling him the truth.
No, he
He's
isn't.
not.
You know what? And he goes like this. It's on the video. It's not like he's trying to hide anything.
Right. But is the sergeant really going to go back and look at the video?
Sergeant
Likely
will
not.
go, of course, no. Of course, the sergeant will, because I'm sure there was a complaint filed on this.
Only if there's a complaint filed.
No, even if there wasn't, anytime the sergeant comes in and responds on something like this, and there is a situation with regards to
all right. So then the sergeant knows.
he said, they're going to be looking at that.
What if this officer got up on a witness stand in court and said, you know, and let's say we go back in time to the days when there was no body camera, right? To prove it, he would have got into court, testified that Ice-T jumped out of the car. And that's when things escalated. Things escalated before. And that's when I decided to tow the car. It's not the truth. Like the truth is the truth is the truth, period. Like we heard him say, I'm going to tow it.
He didn't tow
Okay.
it.
He's allowed to tow it. He's allowed to tow it.
He didn't tow the car. So it's not what you're speculating on is irrelevant.
I'm not speculating.
He didn't tow the car, man. He didn't tow it.
It's exactly what the officer said.
He didn't tow the car. So what's the
You said not to drive our car.
what?
He's got the Greg Brady defense here, Jonesy. It's the Greg Brady defense. When Greg is gets in trouble because he's reading the album cover while he's driving with Bobby in the car, and then Mr. Brady says, "That's it. You're not allowed to drive our car anymore." And then Greg goes and drives his friend's car, and then his father, Mr. Brady's like, "I told you you weren't allowed to drive." And then Greg says, "Well, you said you couldn't drive our car," when clearly Greg knew he was not supposed to be driving because of the dangerous behavior of reading the album cover while driving. That's the
infamous
defense.
great Brady defense.
Yeah. It's a Brady violation. Here we go.
And he said, he called me an asshole. He called me an asshole. And he said, give me all your paperwork right now. And everything's been recorded. And your vehicle's been towed. And you're receiving tickets. You for, you looking right now? technical purposes.
The officer received permission to issue the actor 4 tickets, including one for driving with a suspended license.
By the way, I love this guy, Unspoken Crime. He's awesome. Awesome.
Driving while suspended is a serious charge.
Yeah. Yeah. That's problematic. Nice car, too.
There's a clip where the superior asks him to give him those tickets. Hopefully it's coming up.
Yeah. I'm just going to let it roll here.
So, oh shit, I forgot to. All right, you can issue him a ticket, and that's going to be it, right? He's going to leave the car here. Up to you, whatever you want to do. Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay. You want to leave the car here? Okay. Yeah, he's going to park the car here. No problem. Go across the street and get the paperwork for the car. Okay, but he's getting 4 tickets though. All right. Okay. Driving a registered motor vehicle, driving with an expired license. Okay. Improper display. He got no front plates and no inspection sticker. Okay.
You guys still do the inspection stickers in New Jersey on the windshield?
You know, if you have a car that's over 20 years old, and both of my cars are, you're considered a classic car, and you don't have to. But anything prior to a certain year, even if it's 20 years old, you have to. So I'm driving dirty right now. I don't have a good inspection sticker. I was told by my mechanic that they don't pay attention to it anymore. They could probably pull me over for it, but I'm told that they don't really follow suit on that.
In Georgia, what you do is the only inspection is you just have your emissions done. That's all we inspect.
Yeah, that's all they care about here now as well.
Okay. And we get little stickers that go on the license plate. Or actually, we call them tags. We don't even call them license plate. We call them tags. You put a little sticker that's got your month on it, and you put it on. So you end up like with a whole. If you keep your car long enough, a whole stack of these stickers on top of each other on your back tag. All right, let's continue.
How many did you make out already? What's that? 4. You made 4. You already sent them in? Not yet. Yes? Can you bring it down to 2? Nah, sorry. Okay. All right. No, it's up to you, bro. I can't tell you. Okay. All right.
Now he's cut up part of this, so maybe we missed part of it, Jonesy. But you hear the sergeant is basically speaking with his deputy, right? Who has the discretion and control of the situation, but sort of trying to cut a break for Ice-T, not forcing the deputy to do it, right? Because the deputy still has jurisdiction.
The sergeant would be in trouble if he did.
Right.
Yeah, he explains that to Ice-T in a moment.
Okay, let's take a look.
All right. I can't tell him as a sergeant what to do. Okay? I can guide him and I can make a recommendation. He's going to give you 4 tickets. Okay? I asked him not to give you the 4 tickets, but he could bring it down to 2. He said, no, he's giving you the 4 tickets.
What are the 4 tickets?
He says you have no front plate, no inspection sticker, no registration, and your driver's license is expired.
Okay. All right.
All right.
I did, yeah. I did. Okay. All right. So I know if you want to come with me or...
Yeah. Okay. So they know that that you're not going to get the tow and that you're going to...
Yeah, I'm 11 right now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I just want to give you an update. 55-45 Ice-T.
Wow.
He's winning in the poll.
I'm really surprised because when you had said you were putting up a poll, it was shortly after Al and I were arguing, and I thought I was going to get skewered.
Right.
For my opinions on it. So I'm surprised people went with Ice-T. But look how much more relaxed he is with the more reasonable Superior.
Yeah. Do you think he's taking selfies with the fans right now? I think he is.
I don't know if he told you, but everything's being recorded on the body cameras, so... Okay. So, as for my sergeant, we're not going to tow your vehicle, but you're receiving summonses. Here's your keys. Here's your paperwork, driver's license, everything you gave me. You're receiving a ticket for no front plates.
Where's all the other paperwork?
It's in there. Everything you gave me. It's in the vehicle. You have no inspection, driving expired registration, and driving with expired license.
Oh, so he didn't hit him with suspended.
You're, like I said, you're gonna leave the car here and just
Right
go to
there.
DMV.
I'm walking DMV and handle the business.
So, but you do know your registration is expired.
How safe is it to leave that car right there?
I think it's perfectly safe.
No,
Yeah, I don't
in Hudson County, is someone going to try to steal the car?
No, that
Oh.
wouldn't happen.
I thought you meant like if it was going to be hit.
No, just because just leave the Porsche. You better roll up the windows.
You might roll up the window and lock it.
Yeah. How old do you think Ice-T is?
66. Am I right?
Jonesy? Wanna take a guess?
I don't know. You said it. The way you said it, I thought you looked it up. I'd say that sounds about right.
Yep, that's right. I looked
You
it up.
know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 60. He's still in good shape. He's in really good
Great
shape.
shape.
He's
He's
in
got a
great
great life. And you know what? He's a great guy. I have nothing bad about him, but he didn't do the right thing here.
No.
You know, historically.
Let me ask you though. Let me ask you. Like at the end of the day, he won. He won. His issue was he did not want his Porsche towed. So as much as
he didn't want any
he said he didn't do it the right way, he ends up really winning because the Porsche doesn't get towed.
And if he goes to court, 4 would be knocked down to 1.
Yeah.
So he'd be paying a $186 fine for not having a license with him, and that would be it. We've been done.
Yeah.
If
Interesting.
he just said, listen, like I said, you can beat the charge, but you can't fight the ride. So
Yeah.
take the ticket.
That's what I'm going for.
No,
I'm just letting you know that I didn't know if you just knew your registration was expired. You got both.
I got everything.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. All right. No, I'm good. All right. You just the way he treated me. Okay. I was gonna park the vehicle. No tickets issued, but just next time show some respect. That's all I gotta say.
I don't have to.
No. Things clearly from Ice-T's perspective got more serious once he heard the word tow. Before that, he was like, "Come on, you're not serious. Let me just go right over there." There wasn't that level of the confrontation and the disrespect.
In spite of his language, he was even-handed about it. He said, "You don't have to do this. You can.
You
but
can.
You don't have to."
Right. It's interesting because I don't think I think the officer and the officer's doing his job. Like he's protecting himself. Like, and I get it. And I absolutely get it. And I'm on board with it. Like you can't drive this unregistered vehicle. You can't drive, period. You need to take care of it. And issuing summonses for it. Like I get it. Like anyone else would get a summons pretty much. I think, I don't know. Maybe there are some deputies who would let someone go who's that close to the DMV. I don't know. But if you're in violation,
I got let go on an expired registration. It was clear that I was being honest. I didn't realize it. And the officer said that I hadn't gotten a ticket since 1986. He was impressed by that.
Wow. What was that ticket for, Jonesy, in 1986?
Well, I was driving without a seatbelt on the Hudson extension of the Turnpike, and I drove by the area where the troopers would hang out, and they pulled me over for speeding. But he gave me 1 ticket instead of 2, cut me a break, and also lowered the mileage per hour I was doing, so it wouldn't be a more major charge. At the time, I was of the age where I, as I say, disrespected the officer and, threw my license kind of thing. The last time I was pulled over based on the computer reading my plate, I was sincere, but I came across as a doddering old man, when I look back at it, I really did. I was like, no, sir, I remember I got this car registered, and it turned out it was my other car. So he saw that I didn't know it. I wasn't all there.
Next year, I think the grand prize at the Christmas party next year should be you get to take a ride in one of Jonesy's classic cars.
I don't know. I don't. Yes, but I wouldn't consider the Honda a classic, but the cop car.
Yeah.
The cop car.
You have a former police car, right?
Yeah, I do. It's a decommissioned car from West Virginia. It's a Crown Victoria with the cop package. They don't make them anymore, unfortunately, and it's gotten really old and rusty living at the shore. So it's beginning to look more and more like the Blues Brothers mobile.
All right, let's get to some comments here. See what people are saying. Andy Blaze, I love Al, but I'm disappointed.
Well, what can I tell you? It's a situation that could have very easily been avoided, and it should have been. Simple as that. Simple as that.
Leanne, if I was a celebrity, I would definitely have a driver.
And my driver would be Jonesy, because the doddering old man thing might help me get out of tickets.
I'd be very happy to be your driver.
Laura Wagner, he's right, though. These are legal issues. It's not about showing respect. So this is interesting, right? This is really, I think, the gist of our disagreement and our conversation today is about the letter of the law. No doubt, Ice-T was wrong. He was wrong.
Right.
He violated several laws, right?
Yes.
Did he show enough respect to the officer on the one hand? And on the other hand, is that what should be the guiding principle in whether or not someone is cited for violating the law here in this country, showing respect?
I don't believe it should be the deciding principle. And I think the officer kind of represents that when he gets all excited and says, like, you disrespected me. And then talks about towing the car. It's almost like a na. Oh yeah, watch what I'm going to do to you now.
All right, Philly, PA girl. Al, you were right.
Thank you, Philly, PA girl. Very, very nice.
I love Philadelphia.
And then historically, I've always am right. So it's as simple as that.
This is a great comment from Doris. I got pulled over once for going 5 miles per hour under the speed limit late at night. I was angry and I told the cops so.
Yeah, you know why? You know why you got pulled over on that? Because people that are high on marijuana have a tendency to ride lower than the speed limit, okay, because they're paranoid. It's a study that was done, and it's interesting because there was a study that was done in Belgium that said that people on marijuana are so paranoid with regards to getting stopped that they will actually drive lower than the speed limit so that the cops won't stop them. So,
I'm with Doris, though, on this one. And again,
so are you saying that those officers profile?
no, it's not a profile. That's looking for clues. That's looking for a possibility. That's not a profile. The profile would be that because she's white, black, Chinese, or whatever.
you
profile
can't pull someone
is under NHTSA. NHTSA did a study, and the NHTSA study said that people driving under the speed limit could be under the influence. Therefore, they were pulled over, and then she was probably let go. Okay, but that's not profiling.
You should not be pulled over for going 5 miles per hour under the speed limit.
I'm just telling you what they're taught.
I know,
in
but
their academies.
Police should not do that, period. Like this poor woman, Doris, it's at night. She's being a great driver. She's being careful. If every driver was Doris, this would be a better world. This would be a safer world. There would be less accidents. There would be less carnage on our roadways. we should not take 5 seconds to pull over someone like Doris.
I'm not saying Doris did anything wrong. You asked the question as to why she was pulled over. I'm giving you.
No, I know. I'm not yelling at you, Al. I'm yelling at the officer who pulled over Doris, and I am not anti-police at all. But I believe in, what's my first rule, Jonesy? What's rule 1?
Your first
Safety
rule?
first. Safety first.
Rule number 1, no politics.
No
safety
politics.
first.
All right,
Yes.
rule number 2, safety first. And Doris, you get an A+ today. We all should drive 5
You know,
miles an hour.
I drive under the limit generally. At the most, I drive at the limit. And I'm not high when I'm driving. I just that's how I feel safe. My joke was always I can't drive 55 because I'm doing 50.
Doris was doing 65 and a 70, for goodness sake, and she got pulled over.
You don't have
That's
70.
outrageous.
That's reasonable.
We don't have 70 in New Jersey. We only have 65.
Yeah, we have 70 down here.
We did
So
at one point, didn't we?
Ben, is it possible that we could talk about what happened today on this day in history?
Today?
Today. Believe it or not.
To civil rights and all the revolution fights. World War I and World War II. I'll always knows who is who. It's this day in history. This day in history. History. Now let's listen to his story.
All right, what's your story, Al?
All right, Vin, we're going to do a little New Jersey story. Okay, we'll start off with that. On this day in 1777, the Battle of Princeton was fought. It's significant because it was the first victory for George Washington in the open field, and it came upon his masterful Battle of Trenton, where he had crossed the Delaware on Christmas Eve and had been able to capture and slaughter the Hessians that were not prepared for an attack. So the Princeton battle was
the night before, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah, they were drinking for the holiday.
Yeah, and didn't Washington know that and took advantage of the situation?
Well, he took advantage because he knew that there was where he crossed the Delaware and came down was just remarkable. There were no guards in the area, so he was able to get his troops into Trenton, set up cannons, and then call the attack. It was a masterful plan, and the interesting thing was that it was suggested by a general by the name of Hugh Mercer, and Hugh Mercer gets mortally wounded during the Battle of Princeton. Okay, and in that situation, he was mortally wounded. He refused to leave the field until his men, were able to keep fighting and things along those lines. He subsequently died about 9 days later. And what's interesting about Hugh Mercer is that Hugh Mercer's direct descendant was George S. Patton Jr.
Wow.
So it comes that, and also, and I'll throw this out to Jonesy.
One thing though, that Al, I just want to throw this out. You mentioned the Battle of Princeton, and I just found this out because my son is binging House right now.
Okay.
That House is supposed to take place in Princeton, New Jersey. That TV show. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I had no idea. I had no idea. Go ahead.
I don't
Al.
even know the show.
House?
No.
The Doctor, Dr. House?
Hmm.
Interesting. All right, go ahead, Al.
All right. And so, I mean, this situation is there's two very famous paintings of the mortally wounding of Hugh Mercer. As a result of this, and by the way, Hugh Mercer was surrounded and fought off the British who were coming at him with their bayonets with his sword, and eventually was stabbed 7 times, but was able to stay alive for a little bit of time. But Jonesy, I was going to say that he's also a direct descendant of Johnny Mercer.
Oh, cool.
The famous musical performer.
Yeah.
So that very, very important. It's a beautiful battlefield to go take a look at. do the whole tour, start in Trenton and work your way up. It was exactly the way George Washington did. And as a result of that victory, the French were interested in coming into the war and joining our side. And then that was what pushed the tide towards the Americans, towards the revolutionary individuals who were able to pull away from the British and get our independence. Now,
Jonesy, I got a new gig for you.
What's that?
Leanne would love to hire you as her driver in Montana.
Oh,
Montana.
With Hannah. So, and on January 3rd, 1971, serial killer Carl Eric Charles Brandt decided to go into his bathroom, and his pregnant mother was there, and his father was there shaving, and he red rummed the mother and the fetus and shot the father. The father survived.
Wow.
He was 13 years of age. Okay. He was not charged criminally. They put him in a psychiatric ward for a year, and then he was released. Now, in 2004, he was married. He had been involved in a situation with regards to the fact that they had lost their house due to Katrina, and he was living with his wife's niece, and he proceeded to red rum his wife and stabbing her 7 times, and then red rummed the niece, who he decapitated, disemboweled, with the heart and organs removed, and had the head placed next to the body. He subsequently hung himself in the garage of the building that he was residing in. The police believe that he may have been involved in as many as 30 red rums because of the style that he did. Because what happened was the man studied like anatomy and how to dissect and things along those lines. So any case where they found where a woman was decapitated and disemboweled, they were able to, because he had a job where he was always on the road, they were able to pinpoint it. He started out, his first red rum was in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he subsequently moved to Florida, and that's where he red rummed his wife and his wife's niece.
Al, you keep mentioning red rum. For folks who don't know, spell it backwards and we'll know why you're saying it. But I wanted to mention that the official red rum t-shirt now available in our true crime merchandise store.
Hey, very nice.
Isn't that nice?
That's very nice. I like that.
It's a nice one.
Are we gonna get the what was Jonesy's coining of the term? Hulk, Jonesy, what was your wrestling term?
Tangamaniacs.
Tangamaniacs, and then the Tanginistas.
Tanginistas.
Okay. So viva la Tanginistas. So this situation was pretty horrendous. 13 years old, and he executes his mother's unborn baby, shoots his father, and only does 1 year in a psychiatric hospital. So that's what happened today.
Wait, 1 year and then he's out.
Yeah, 1 year and he was out because they had at the time in Indiana, there was no laws that could prosecute him for red rum as a result of his age, because he was 13 years of age. Yeah. So he had tried to execute his sister that night also, but the gun misfired and he chased her out and then went to the neighbor's house, knocked on the door and said, "I just shot my mom and dad."
Oof.
He claimed he didn't know what was happening. He claimed he didn't remember anything. And the sister actually, and the father actually stood by him.
All right, we got an important question for Al here from Babs Bunny. Hey, Al, do you go to the reenactments of the Civil War in New Jersey?
I do not. I'm not necessarily a fan of the reenactments. I think they're wonderful. I think that living history is very, very nice, but I'm a little bit kind of past that. I go to a ton of lectures on the topic. I actually lecture. We do what we call like cavalry rides, where we will go on a bus and I will take individuals around to different historical parts, historical areas in New Jersey. The most Revolutionary War battles were fought in New Jersey. And And so it is a great place to be able to explore. And I live right near Fort Lee, which was named after Charles Lee, not Robert E. Lee. And this is where Washington's mighty escape happened. And when you read Thomas Paine's These Are the Times That Try Men's Souls, he wrote that while in Fort Lee, watching Washington retreat in one of the most masterful retreats in American history.
All right.
Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The Mod Squad is on the job, helping us to keep it clean. The Mod Squad is on the job, always so nice and never mean. So let's give it
All right,
up
big thank
and
you
say
to our Mod
hello
Squad,
to
Gen
the
X, Frankie
amazing
Figs, Jennifer
ladies
Stubay
running
on
the
YouTube,
show.
Ashley Bouchard on the
Let's make
Facebook,
some noise.
and Gen X reminding everyone that the Red Rum shirts are available, and she's got a link for you. How about that?
Very nice.
Order in the chat. Thank you so much to the Mod Squad.
Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The Mod Squad is on the job.
And now everyone's got that song in their head.
Yes.
Which we love. Let's get to a couple more. Oh, here we go.
Nope.
Let's see. I'm going to check that poll one more time, see if there's any change, because there weren't a ton of votes yet. We've got a poll up on the Ice-T versus the deputy. And that's going on in my community. Let's see if we've got a few more votes since then. It's still Ice-T is ahead, 53-47. People are on Ice-T's side here. People are on Ice-T's side. I'm wondering if they think that they would get a break. Like, do you think there was anything that could have been done by Ice-T in that situation where he would have walked away with no tickets?
Yes.
You do. You think if he would have been super nice?
Yeah, I do believe that if he had said, you know what, I did a stupid thing. I know I'm wrong. DMV is right over there. That's where I'm headed. Like, take a look. I got my 11 points here, and I made a mistake. I think if he had done that, he certainly would have been in a better position.
Do you think if it was a different deputy, and I'll start with you, Jonesy, if it was a different deputy who knew Ice-T, like knew, oh, this is Ice-T, do you think he would the interaction would have been different?
It's hard to say. It depends on which Ice-T he knew. Did he know the Ice-T that wrote Cop Killer, or did he know the Ice-T that has become like a beloved, like, Hollywood guy or star? If the sheriff who showed up, the superior sheriff who showed up, was the one who pulled him over, I think he would have gotten a break. The guy tried to give him a break.
Yeah,
I don't think
may have even known him.
Yeah,
I don't even
think
interact. I don't think, Jonesy, that anyone that is on the job now even remembers Cop Killer.
Probably
I don't think that's a situation. I mean, because it was that long ago that song came out, and most of these guys, they're now they got to work 30 years, but usually it's for the sheriff, for the sergeant, it's probably 25 years. So I can't imagine any of them even know that song. They know him from SVU.
Let me ask you this. Joe Wright is saying Ice-T seems like an entitled rich brat that gets away with whatever he wants. So what's the takeaway from you from watching this video of Ice-T? Is Ice-T, come on, let me go? Or do you think Ice-T is wrongfully harassed? Like, does he come off as a victim in this? Does he come off as kind of like a entitled celebrity brat?
I think he comes across fairly reasonably at first, and I don't think he like Al says, he never says, "Don't you know who I am?" Right. I think he's looking for a break that maybe John Q. Public would get, not necessarily a star.
Al?
I agree. I don't think he came across as a entitled and celebrity because he didn't pull that card. He didn't pull. You know who I am. And he very well could have done that. Um, and he didn't do that routine at all. In fact, at no point in time did he mention that. And I give him a lot of credit. I think that restraint is remarkable. Okay, because 9 times out of 10, anyone who gets pulled over is like, you know who my best friend is? The mayor. The mayor and I are like that. What's your name?
Yeah.
You start pulling those rank things, and that ends up becoming a huge problem.
That becomes a bigger problem. What I think Ice-T, because Ice-T is you can argue with me if you want, but I think he's an A-lister just because of the length of time and the various places he has shown up. Like, he's been on television in prime time for 2 decades. He's a recording artist. Then beyond that, he's had his reality shows as well, which are like big, right? So you take his entire work. I put him into the A-list. He's not A-list George Clooney, but I think he's on the towards the bottom third of A-listers. But I think he's an A-list celebrity. In my book, he is. And I think because of the length of his career and the various parts of his career, I think when he's in public, I don't know what the percentage is. I would say an overwhelming majority of people recognize him as a celebrity. I think that.
Yeah.
So I think he is more surprised in the moment that he's not being recognized. And I don't think he's used to that, to not being recognized. The sergeant shows up, and in a moment, the sergeant knows who he is. The sergeant knows, but this guy doesn't.
I need 2 minutes. Apparently, a judge is calling me. Hold on. Right back.
Let's go live with that, Jonesy. How great would that be? Oh, wow. Listen, look at this. All right, so I'm going to take him. I
wonder if he argues with the judge the way he argued with me.
I wonder if he's in a good mood or a bad mood, Al, right now, based on this and how it's going to come down. But I think he's legitimately surprised that he's not recognized in all of this, Jonesy.
Yeah, he probably is. But again, like, I really do think that he comes across fairly reasonable. His language is peppered, with curse words. Some people talk like that. I do in private. But at no point do I think he plays the celebrity card or is expects to be let off because he's a celebrity. He expects to be let off because he's across the street from the DMV. They let me off.
Yeah, if they let Jonesy off, and they didn't let Ice-T, that's interesting, right? That's really interesting. So when I look at this situation, like, I wonder what it's like in the mind of a celebrity at the level of Ice-T, where you're recognized wherever you go, right? You are recognized. There's no way you're not recognized.
So I had to take the driving test in New York City because I let my license expire when I lived in Manhattan, and I had to go to Red Hook, Brooklyn. And when I pulled up, the inspector took me first, and he said, "You're the second most famous person I've ever had in my car. The first one would be the director from She's Gotta Have It, who's at Spike Lee."
Spike Lee.
Oh,
and I basically, he gave me the test. He said, and the driving instructor who drove me there said that I've never seen him do that before. He took me before everybody else. He told me basically, relax, because you pass no matter what. And at the end, he said you would have passed anyway. But he was, I get recognized, not to that extent, but that was like the best one ever.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So Al, are you in trouble? Is your client going to prison? What's happening?
And no, it was regarding hearing that was supposed to be on Monday, but they're moving to Tuesday. So
Okay.
Judge wanted to make sure that I had Tuesday open. And
Fantastic.
my office knows that if the judge calls, I get on the phone. I don't say I'm on my podcast.
Well, there's a story about that. So my father was a federal judge, and there was a trial going on, and there was a doctor from South Jersey who had been subpoenaed to testify, not as an expert, but as a fact witness. It was under a subpoena, and he didn't show up, right? So my father, they called down to the doctor's office down in South Jersey, that the judge is calling you, right?
Right.
To come appear in court. And the doctor would not even get on the phone. Like he's not a surgeon. He's just a doctor in his practice. Doctors do amazing work and yeah, and all that. And they just wanted to speak with the doctor to see why he wasn't there, and maybe to set up a time for him to come and appear under the subpoena that he was under. Right. But he wouldn't even get on the phone. So what do you think the federal judge does?
Issues a warrant for his arrest.
He sends the marshals down.
Yeah. I mean, how foolish could you be not to honor a subpoena that's issued by a federal court?
And whatever the doctor's situation was, my father would have worked around his schedule and said, okay, we'll set it up. You'll come. But the doctor couldn't be bothered because the doctor wasn't coming to court as an expert who was going to get paid $700 an hour or whatever to appear. He was a fact witness in a case. The doctor did not have a good day.
And the just so the people know, like Vinny's father was like a lawyer's judge. I mean, he was always very, very, very appreciative of the fact that, we're running around to different places and that schedules get, crazy. And he's a federal judge, and he could, just basically just put his stamp down and say, you're going to come here. And he would never do that. So he was always an absolute pleasure to, go in front of, and also to work with, in litigation, because I've had cases with him in
and he'll work with your schedule. And I'm sure, if the doctor said, listen, I couldn't today, I had this patient, or I, whatever, I have to do X, Y, or Z. Well, doctor, when can you come appear and testify? And would have worked it, but completely ignored, would not even pick up the phone for a federal judge.
And that's even more incredible that the judge called him.
Yeah.
Okay? That ought to tell you what kind of a man of the people
right.
Politician was.
We know how that all ended.
I had an experience with your father that I was very proud of. I live in Asbury Park, where there's disputes between the developers and the city all the time. And I'm not on the side of the developers. And your father became a mediator, and he was mediating the case between this abandoned property in Asbury Park. When I was visiting you one year in LBI, he when he found that out, he asked your mom to get his file, and he spoke with me at length about like how I felt as a citizen, with what the developer did. And they basically built on a property that had an abandoned structure on it for like 20 years. They built on that, and they left that abandoned for many years while they sought funds. And I basically told them it's an eyesore. It's the first thing people see. It's an embarrassment to the community. And I was very happy and proud of the fact that as a citizen of Asbury Park, your dad saw the value in speaking to me about it, and that was very cool.
Hey, by the way, yeah. I mean, that's important. Carl LaFong knows Ice-T from the car insurance commercials.
Yes.
No, he's not. That's not car insurance. It's isn't that the? I guess it's a form of insurance. You're right.
It's for mechanical repair.
Right,
mechanical repair. And one really cool thing is he shows up on one of those commercials with an old retired rapper who was a friend of his, and I guess he got the dude like a gig, because the dude looked like he could use a gig. It had been a while since he was on the hip hop charts. And they're kind of fun to watch. Sometimes he parodies his Law and Order character.
And apparently he grew up in Summit, New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah, he's from this area, but he got his start in hip hop and rap on the West
LA.
Coast. And he always considered himself to be a West Coast guy, even though he was from the East Coast.
Well, which is also part of the video. If you look at it, I think he's wearing a Dodger
I don't have
hat.
either. So you have a great day.
Yeah,
sir.
He
he's
should have
wearing
been
an LA
cited
hat.
for that. I mean, I would have cited him for wearing the
In
Dodger
end,
hat.
The actor was able to resolve the situation, fixing the issues,
Right? Isn't that?
and paying the
Yeah, he's
fines
got
in
the LA
full.
Dodger
But
hat
it
going.
raises the question: was
Wearing
the
that on the
officer
East Coast. Like, do we have a problem with that? That he's sort of a traitor? Born in Newark, raised in Summit, New Jersey, goes
Man,
out,
you know-
becomes a West Coast rapper, and,
You
and
know
and
me.
wears his colors,
You
his
know
LA
me.
Dodger colors on the East Coast.
On the East Coast, man.
After
You know,
the
when-
Dodgers eliminate, well, this was before, right? This was before, but the Dodgers eliminated the Mets and eliminated the Yankees.
Yeah.
He's a traitor. All of a sudden, I don't like Ice-T.
I'd just like to know if he ever wound up at the Summit Diner, that cute little trailer diner next to the railroad station.
Oh,
Maybe-
great diner.
Maybe, Vin, that's why the police officer was threatening to tow the car, because of the colors.
Yeah.
Not because he's black, but because of the blue colors
The blue
that were
color.
on there. And you take a look at that and you just go, wait, this is ridiculous.
And Tupac, also East Coaster that moved out to California.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
And
that happened quite a bit.
LL Cool J, same thing.
Well, yeah, but he really made it. He
yeah.
claimed to be a Brooklyn guy.
Well, he did, but I mean, he was, he was very, very much on the West Coast. He was living there and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I always thought of him as a New Yorker. And his
I
story,
do too. I do
his
too.
story
That's
is
what-
fascinating. He was raised by his grandmother, who at the age of like 14 or something like that, bought him some turntables and a microphone.
Two
so that
turntables
he
and a
could,
mic?
not hang out on the streets and pursue his passion. But, yeah.
Interesting. Well, we are out of time, gentlemen, because
And he's
I have
become
not-
and
Oh, we're overtime.
What'd you say, Josie?
And Cool J has become like an elder statesman. It's really cool. He shows up in a tuxedo at every award show, the Grammys and all that kind of stuff. He's like an elder statesman of rap. Yet when he had his don't call it a comeback, but when he was performing in the last couple of years on like the July 4th party in New York City and stuff like that, he was badass, and man, he was just so on and so energetic for his age. I was a fan all over again.
Rock the Bells. I was there. 12-hour concert. It was unbelievable, and he closed the night out, and it was spectacular.
Oh, you were there?
Absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, he pogoed, as the Ramones would call it, jumped up and down for like 3 minutes straight. I mean, the energy that guy exuded was just it made me want to see him live.
Ringo Starr still pogos, by the way.
Does he really?
I don't think he does anymore, but
No, I saw him maybe 4 years ago. He was still pogoing.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Peace and love. All right. That's all the time we have here on the Tangent Podcast for today. By the way, folks, just so you know, the audio edition of the Tangent Podcast is on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's everywhere now. So if you ever missed one of these, or you're driving and you don't want to watch us, you just want to listen, I do post them on Spotify and Apple and wherever else you get your podcasts. How about that? That's
great.
new for 25.
Spoken like
great.
a New Jerseyan. Spotify.
so
Al, where can folks find you?
well, then I will be back with you on Monday, okay, on Court TV, closing arguments 8 to 9.
I
And
think we'll be
with
talking about a little bit of Karen Reed.
Okay, looking forward to that. But we've been off for 2 weeks, so it's going to be nice to get back in the saddle again. And just with regards to everyone saying that police officer lied to his superior, just remember the great quote of all time, George Costanza: "It's not a lie if you believe it."
Where can folks find the radio legend that is
He
Jonesy?
just can't let it go. You're like Fonzie. I was
Because I'm seeing the comments, so I have
Say
to.
what?
I have to say something.
Where
Jonesy?
can folks find
What
the
did you say
radio
there,
legend
Vinny?
Jonesy?
Oh, I
What?
will be doing my live stage show January 19th at Monty Hall in Jersey City. It'll be streamed live. It's a live broadcast. 3 outfit changes on the part of Jonesy. You can't go wrong on that one.
January 19th. Mark it down, folks. Woo!
Is that
All right.
that's a Monday?
It's a Sunday.
Sunday. Okay.
Amazing. It's an amazing show. And by the way, folks, you can watch me 2 hours live every night, Monday through Friday. It's 2 hours of live true crime on Court TV. Of course, streaming live here as well. And thank you so much to the Mod Squad for helping us out. Great comments today. Happy New Year to everyone. And that's it. We are done. I need to get some lunch because I am type 1 diabetic and I've not had my lunch yet. So we've got to get her done before I get too low on my blood sugar. So in the meantime, can you please say good night, Jonesy?
Good night, Jonesy.
See all of you in court. Somebody say tangent, tangent. Somebody say podcast, podcast. Tangent, tangent. Podcast, podcast. This is the Tangent Podcast. Good night, everyone. Good night. Thank you for all your support. We are the Tangent True Crime Podcast. We'll see all of you in court. Somebody say tangent, tangent. Somebody say